Great.
Am
What
I
do you
still
want to
red
talk about in
barring?
reference to abortion?
I mean, I guess, do you think abortion is impermissible?
Abortion would be impermissible under my framework, yes.
Okay, why do you think that?
So I would arrive at abortion being impermissible because it would be the unjustified action against a sophont.
And, well, we're going to have to get clear on what a SOFOT is, but
Propose a hypothetical in which an individual were to be actively aggressed upon or harmed, I would agree with you. But pragmatically, 99% of those cases aren't abortions. They're DNCs for tubular ectopic pregnancies. So unless we're getting in semantical about what an abortion is, which we can agree that those are abortions if you want to call them. And then I'll abortions if you want to call them. And then I'll just say I have a medical.
Why? You said something about because there's no harm, and what was the other thing? Why? You said something about because there's no harm, and what was the other thing?
Well, no, I said that they're being unjustified. It would be unjustified because there is no active form of danger / harm, and that would just assert that under my non-lexical utilitarian framework. And then we could go over my utility calculus if you want.
Yeah, we can get to that. Let me.
Well, no. If you want clarification on my framework, then obviously who I'm following under. Because I'd probably quote John Scott in reference to his 1863 paper on utilitarian calculus. It's the main one, right? Especially in reference to non-lexical utilitarianism. And so I would quote, I honestly, it's not even like I want to parrot. It's just such a good argument to use. And I would just start with that. I see another person on panel. I thought we wouldn't have those.
But Emery, can I just say this one? Lagging and they want to be able to hear. That's all. They're not going to speak. If they do, we will drop them.
Yeah.
Really? Because now we're at 2 more people.
Well, they want to hear.
Did you not just hear the explanation?
I really
did
don't.
You just not hear the explanation?
3.
Hold on, Emery. There's just been a recent TikTok glitch that's been going on for a few months that it lags if you're not on panel. We will all stay muted.
Well, I don't see the issue. Is there a reason you're scared of?
No, I agreed to doing this as a 1v1 with no one here but the host.
Do you know it's still a 1v1 if everybody's on mute?
Yeah, I don't believe you, but okay. We'll do this.
You can trust me, Emery.
I don't trust you, Tiff.
Okay, look. Honestly, the crying is just unnecessary.
It's not crying. I asked you a bunch of questions and you haven't answered any of them.
Yeah, I just got to a place where I can speak. Is it okay if I speak now, or are you going to keep crying?
Do you think ad hominems equal you being a good debater?
Did I insult you?
You did. You just said crying. Is that an addressment? Yes.
Okay, wait. Saying that someone's... Okay, I'm not even going to go down this.
Wait, am I vocally crying? Have I not maintained my same monotone level of speech?
Okay, do you think I mean literally crying?
No, I think that you're trying to say that I'm complaining about multiple people being on panel instead of actually addressing any of the things about my argument or the questions I asked you.
You are doing. You are complaining.
Yeah. So you are directly using an ad hominem against me. So that's one. We'll count how many we get before you actually address my own position.
This is very.
I asked you a bunch of questions. Can you answer them?
Yeah. Do you want me to get to them, or do you want to keep speaking? Okay, cool. Thanks. So, for one, you want to say that the action's unjustified because there's no harm actively occurring. But actually, a lot of people take a harm theoretic known as TRIA, time relative interest account of harm. And under TRIA accounts, people who are enduring unwanted pregnancies are being harmed because their prudential interests are being actively violated. So, it wouldn't be on your account unjustified if they are being harmed, correct?
So why should I subscribe to TRIA? You said a lot of people, but that's not me, nor did it have anything to do with my position. Why am I subscribing to an argument that has nothing to do with my position?
Yeah, so are you asking the motivation for the view?
Well, no, I'm not asking the motivation. I'm asking why am I subscribing to something that has nothing to do with my position?
Yeah,
I outline my position and ask to quantify my own utility calculus
so you're
instead of asking me to then quantify it.
You're asking for the
No, really,
motivation
I
for the
thought
view.
someone just complained about being interrupted and not getting to speak.
Yeah,
You
I'm just
just
getting
asked me
clear
about
that,
Tria.
yeah,
I'm saying, why am I doing
I'm
something?
getting very clear and very linear that what you are asking for is motivation for the view. So is it the case you're asking for motivation for adopting the view? Yes or no?
No, I'm asking the relevancy in reference to my view. Because I clearly stated my view and offered clarification.
Yeah,
Instead
your
of,
view is that it's unjustified because there's no active harm. But if you take
yeah,
this
and then I
account,
further
look, if
offered my.
you take this
So if I
account of
take an
harm,
account that's
if
not
you take
mine,
presumably if you accept this account, then you do think they're being harmed, and if you do accept that account, then it follows that the abortion is justified.
cool. And why does that account supersede mine?
I'm not even sure you have an account, right? I'm
Well,
putting forth
no, no,
my own
no.
account first.
Cool. So why does yours supersede mine? Or are they not at
Well, do
impasse?
you want to lay out your account, or do you want to hear this
I
account?
asked repeatedly, and you keep bringing up things that aren't my account
Uh,
instead of letting me clarify
Do you
my
know
account.
how dialogues work? Like, do you know how arguments work in these
Well,
kinds of domains? Let's
I
just
thought
get a
if you had
quick yes or
questions
no on
about
that.
my account, then you
Do
would
do
allow me to
you
clarify.
yes or no? Do you understand how dialectics work in this kind of domain,
Confused
especially
on the
harm
relevancy to me
judgments?
clarifying my own account.
Was that a yes or no?
Are you going to let me clarify
That's
my
blunder
account?
number one. Now, was that a yes or no? Do you understand how
Blunder number
dialectics work?
one?
Yeah. Do you understand how dialectics work in accounts of harm of death judgments? Yes or no?
I understand that if we're going to let me clarify on my account,
Okay,
then
that's
we should
blunder
probably leave
number
it there.
two because that was not a yes or no. So do you want to go for blunder number three, or do you want to answer the question?
I would like to clarify my own position since we're apparently
Okay,
trying to
that's
clarify my own
blunder number
position.
three. So let's just
Great.
go ahead and ask the question again. Do you understand how these dialectics work in applied
I think
ethics?
that if we're trying to clarify my
Oh my
account, we should
God,
try
look
to
at that.
clarify
That's
my
blunder
account.
number four. Not only
Just
have you
because you
dodged the
say
question
blunder
one
doesn't
time,
mean you
you've dodged it
actually.
twice, thrice,
Mhm.
and a fourth time.
Yeah. So are we going to
Okay,
let me
so
clarify my account that we're trying to
yeah,
clarify?
I want you to answer the question. So do you understand how these dialectics work? Yes or no?
Yeah. So are we going to clarify my?
Was that a yes to the question? You do understand the
Are
dialectics?
we going to clarify my question?
Are you going to keep dodging from the question?
Well, no. I offered to clarify. You said you wanted me to
Okay, are
clarify.
you
We
going to
haven't
answer the
clarified
question?
yet. It seems like you're dodging my
Are you going to
clarification.
answer the question?
Well, no, you dodged my clarification.
Okay, so
Therefore,
just to be clear, you are not going to
just to be
answer the question.
clear, you're dodging my
Yeah,
clarification.
I just want to let it be known for everybody
No, let
listening
it be known that you
that
have
this
dodged
guy
my
already said
clarification
he's
from.
not going to, answer the
Let it be
question.
known that before you
So
even
I
spoke,
just don't
I
understand
asked to
what's going on here.
clarify, and you have
Okay,
refused to
so
let
I'll
me.
just go ahead and ask the question again. Do you understand how these
Will you let me
dialectics work
clarify?
when it comes to harm of death judgments and
Actually, what is the
philosophy of death?
relevancy of me giving you a yes or no in reference to my
Okay, so
clarification?
that's dodge number 5. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
so you
Like
said you
Judith is
wanted me to
racking them
clarify.
up for
I
no
said I
reason.
wanted to clarify.
Okay,
You're
so
asking
look,
me an
I'm
irrelevant
going to take pity
question.
on you. I'm just going to move on because I don't want you to get to 10 blunders because you don't want to know what happens when
No,
you
at
get to
10
10 blunders.
blunders, like, is
Okay,
that when
so
you
let's
finally
just go
let me
ahead and move
clarify?
on, and I'll just explain it to you. So how it
I
works
don't need an
in
explanation. I
philosophy,
need clarification to be given, and I'm
sorry.
trying to afford that to you.
What happens in the philosophy of death judgments is that when people are giving
Under whose
accounts,
framework?
sorry, what
Under
happens in
whose framework? And why should I
philosophy,
care
I
about
don't know
theirs?
why you're interrupting. So what
Well, it's
happens
because I
when you
haven't got to
talk in
give
philosophy?
clarification.
Yeah, what happens when you're talking about philosophy of death?
Moderator turned off my mic.
Yeah, I'm the moderator, muting your mic.
Yeah,
Yes,
wait,
it is
you're
me.
muting me because
Yeah,
you're
I
unable to
am muting
engage?
you because you're speaking over me. Yeah.
Wait, so you're
So, do you see how I am muting you because you keep speaking over me?
yeah, it's
Look, I know you're terrified for me to
wait,
explain
no.
this because it's going to make you look very
I'm
stupid. But don't worry, I'm just
I'm
going to
terrified.
keep muting you because you're absolutely terrified. And you're going to
I'm
look
terrified that
fucking awful if I finish this sentence. So, what happens when it comes to philosophy of death judgments in applied ethics is that, proponents in the field work to give accounts that explain why we think death is wrong, why we think death is harmful, yada, yada, yada. And there's a clash between certain people who think death is wrong in virtue of harm. This side of death, philosophy of death, is known as harm theoretics. Now, there's two main proponents of harm theoretics. There's the deprivationist account that think death is wrong because death deprives an individual. And there's another camp that thinks death is wrong is because it violates people's interests. And so the people that take the first count are usually people that take an argument called, Future Like Ours by Don Marquis and many proponents of that camp. And then, there's the other people on the other side that take the prudential interest account, which is accounts given by people like David de Grazia and John McMahon. And there's another camp where people don't think death is harmful at all, and they give different accounts. But the relevant account that you want to talk about, because you say that you're a utilitarian and you care about harm as the principle for what makes something unjustified or not, what I can afford you is an account that says this thing is harmful. And so what you would have to do is either A, dismantle the view, or B, provide your own view that's more intuitive. And if you fail to do that, then it seems that your view fails to account for why we think death is wrong in virtue of harm. So do you have an account that you want to put forward, or do you want to hear the motivation for this account and then try to, in some way tear down this account? How do you want to go about this dialectic?
You done muting me?
Look, social
Great.
you that's
Great. So
You do the best.
you're interrupting now. Do I get to mute you when you interrupt me? So earlier, about 23 minutes ago, when I asked to clarify my own position, we could have entirely skipped you talking and yapping and muting me if you would have just let me clarify my position when I was offering to put forth my own argumentation 23 minutes ago. But outside of that, I'm not going to yap on 23 minutes of you wasting our time. Let's talk about my position. So if I afford my own argument to you real quick, right? And we look at simple papers like maternal suicidal ideation. We look at papers like that from the NCBI that was published in 2018. I can also use more recent papers, if you'd like, for justification of my own argument. We can see that things like abortion drastically increase maternal suicidal ideation. So under my utility calculus, if I'm affording the benefit to society, to be more living individuals that are productive inside of society, individuals who are suffering from psychiatric conditions, suffering from suicidal ideations, or are actively committing suicide, are not going to positively increase utility in society. Therefore, reducing the level of these individuals inside of a society would be beneficial. It would further benefit my utilitarianism. And on top of that, when I quantified earlier, long before you got here, and even when you were here repeatedly, that I have non-lexical utilitarianism, when I offered that, the funniest thing about it was that non-lexical utilitarianism doesn't immediately afford individuals care or affirmation specifically because they interpersonally feel like they're being disenfranchised. Now, what it does do is it looks at the greater scheme and it looks at causes of harm on not only an interpersonal level, but an epistemic level. And it would then say, hey, so if Brittany doesn't jump off a bridge and Brittany learns to live with herself and Brittany is a productive member of society, this is a positive for not only Brittany, but society. But if Brittany does this short-term thing that results in Brittany's death and Brittany's not a productive member of society, then this is not only a negative thing for Brittany, but also a negative thing for society. So would you like me to further clarify things I told you 23 minutes ago, or would you like to actually address them?
Yeah, so I gave you the kind of dialectical moves you could do, and you chose to not do either of them.
I
So
actually gave you my position just there. Just because you're
are
refusing to
I
engage
know
doesn't
you
mean
gave
anything.
I know you gave a quote unquote position. You didn't give me an account of harm to follow. So do you have one of those?
That already did.
Look, do you have an account of harm?
Homie, I don't know if it's
You can
the
just say
voices.
yes or no. You don't have to have the pride.
Homie, I don't need to
You-
repeat myself. You can engage
Okay,
with what I said,
so
in particular,
let's
in
just
reference
get
to
clear.
account of harm.
So
See, I
let's just
outlined what harm.
So you see how you're interrupting me? Let's just get clear. Do you have an account of harm, yes or no? Let's just get a yes or no to that very simple yes or no question. You can now unmute and answer that question.
You gonna keep muting me?
Yeah, if you dodge, I will.
Well, it's only a dodge when you don't engage with my
Okay, so
position. But I
blunder
offer
one, that's a dodge. Okay, so do you have an account of harm, yes or no?
Are you going to mute me again?
That's blunder number two. So let's just go ahead and ask the question again. Do you have an account of harm, yes or no?
Was one not afforded?
No, one was not afforded. That's
Really? Based upon
literally
what?
why I'm asking.
Based
you right
upon
now,
what?
account of harm.
Based upon what?
That you didn't give me an account of harm.
Yeah, really. So what would the account of harm in your own terms that you would like be?
I already gave it to you. I gave you
You
my
really didn't. You told me that there were two different schools of thought and that I have two different approaches. Outside of that, you didn't quantify how I didn't meet necessary or sufficient criteria for what would account for harm in reference to that.
You forget the part where when I came up, I said, people who take TRIA or the time relative interest account of harm.
Yeah, so
Mother
TRIA
would
can
be
be
harmed.
completely unintuitive.
Look, it can be, and we can talk about motivation.
Yeah, you said if I offered a position that was more intuitive, so less dead people would be more intuitive.
Do you have an account of harm?
Already offered one. Less dead people would be more intuitive than more dead people.
Okay, so
Or
what
do you
is
want
the-
me to explain it in more brain dead terms
okay,
for
this
you?
might help you. What do you mean by the term harm?
I've already outlined as in negative
Okay, so
outcomes at the greater extent. Do you
okay,
want me to
so
keep explaining
let's get
things for
this.
you to say that I didn't explain them well
Yeah,
enough,
so what
and
does
then
harm
outline
mean?
for me to say the exact same thing that I said earlier?
Okay, so what does harm mean? Just define the word harm for me.
What definition would you like me to offer you, Don?
Yours.
No, I've given personal definitions. They haven't been sufficient. What definition would you like me to offer you, Don?
Look, if you have given them, I haven't heard them, so just repeat
Well,
them.
Don, I don't want to keep repeating myself. I believe you're an intellectual being. You can obviously hear them, so just repeat them.
You're obviously such a virtuous and gracious person. It wouldn't be very hard for you to repeat.
I'm obviously not. I'm a struggling alcoholic with a chronic nicotine addiction.
Don't worry, we can tell. So do you have an account of
you
harm?
can tell
Like,
by
you have
not
a
addressing my
definition?
points. So
you have a
can you
definition?
repeat anything I said back to me? Verbatim would be optimal, but if not,
I could, but I'm not going
No.
to engage with that because it's not engaging with the dialectic.
Wait,
that
but
I
it
present.
actually is because I asked for
So
necessity.
let's just go ahead and get what do you mean by harm on the table?
Wait, but that was already defined.
Okay, so
And you
what was
said
the
that you could
definition?
repeat it back, so then you can just tell yourself or
Okay, so
tell the
what was
crowd,
the
tell the people on the back
definition?
of the bus. Just real quick, just repeat it, and we can all hear it. You heard
I'm
it.
just
You said you could
waiting
repeat it.
for what the definition of harm was. Do you have it?
Dude, you said you could repeat it, so just repeat it for us. Some people in the back of the class didn't hear, Don. You said you could repeat it. Repeat
do
it
you have
for
a
them.
definition of harm?
I gave you. Can you repeat it for us? The people in the back of the class need to hear, Don. Can you repeat it for
Do
them?
you have a definition?
Yeah, no, I have the one that I gave you. Can you repeat it since you said you could?
Oh, look, I didn't hear it. Can you just go ahead and repeat it?
Wait, so Don, you weren't paying attention to me?
Oh, yeah.
Don.
Sorry. I lose track when people just gibberate. So can you just repeat it?
Wait, so Don, you not only are you not paying attention to me, you're muting me. Don, are you sure you're not the one that's scared?
Yeah, I'm very sure. So do you have an
You're
account of
very
harm?
sure that's why you can't repeat my own argument against your point that I further clarified 23 minutes before you spoke? Don,
Yeah,
that
so-
doesn't
Emrys,
sound the best.
usually meta and rhetoric only works when you're actually, winning the debate. So you have to get there first before you start being rhetorical. So let's just go ahead and get what an account of harm is.
Don, I'm in behind enemy lines here.
Okay.
I wasn't
so
expecting to get
we're
more
gonna do
coins if that's how
another
you're
blunder
quantifying what's
account
winning
here,
is.
Since you can't stay linear. So let's just go ahead and get the first try. Emrys, do you have a definition of what harm is? Yes or no?
Yeah, the one I gave you.
Okay, so you do have a definition of harm. Okay, so what is
Yes, the one I
definition of
gave
harm?
you. The one I gave you.
Okay,
You can
so
repeat
that's
it.
not an answer, and that's blunder number one. Okay, so what's the
Well,
definition?
I've blundered at least, so you told me I shouldn't hit 10 blunders.
Okay, well, look, that's
According to you, I've
blunder
blundered
number
17
two. Okay,
times.
so let's just go ahead and ask the question again. What's the definition of harm?
The one that I gave you that you said you were going to
Okay, you can just keep repeating. It's the one that I gave you, and that's not informative. So in order to progress
Well, no,
the
it was
dialectic-
informative the first.
In order to progress the dialectic, what you will do is you will repeat yourself, or you will just be gone from the panel. Because you're not doing anything to stay good faith and linear. So let's just go ahead and get what the
Wait,
definition
like
of
not
harm.
repeat.
Yeah, let's just go ahead real quick and get the definition of harm again. So what do you mean by harm?
The definition that I gave you.
Okay, so that's blunder number 3. Okay, so
No, it's
let's
blubber
just do it
number
again.
19.
Yeah, let's just do it again. Okay, number 4. What's your definition of harm?
The one that I gave you.
Okay, that's blunder number 4. Like this guy's just running
Number 20.
into them. Like he's like driving a school bus and just running over all the little kids he sees. Like he just doesn't care. So let me just ask you the 5th time. What's your definition of harm?
The one that I gave you.
Okay, so that's
I
blunder
know that
number
you
5.
don't know because
He
you weren't
thinks
paying
he's playing
attention.
GTA. He thinks he can just run over all these people.
Don,
Okay,
the funny
so
thing is
since
you
you've
need to
already
mute me to
blundered
sound
5
smart.
times, I'm actually going to cut down the burden for you. Let's get to 8 blunders, and then you don't want to see what happens there. Okay, so let's just go ahead.
Don,
And
I'm
number
already
6.
over 20
Do
blunders.
you-
Can you
do
just hit me
you-
with your finishing
do
move like it's
you-
Mortal Kombat?
Do you have a definition of harm?
Yeah, it was the one that I gave you 10 minutes
Okay.
ago.
So that's blunder number 6. And I just
Don,
want to
can you
let
engage with the
everybody
conversation
know in the
10 minutes
comments,
ago?
Everybody in the every viewer, everybody on the panel. Do you see how this moron was very confident with his gibberation? But then when
Oh
I
my
come up
God.
here and explain how the dialectic
But by not
typically
addressing any of
works,
it?
and then I give a view
By not
that he
addressing
fails,
any of it.
sorry, he fails to actually,
He
either
fails
one,
to
critique
give a
the view,
point that he
or
gave
2, give a
repeatedly.
competing view, and then give
Just because you're
motivation for
talking to the
competing
comment
view.
section.
So let's just
On friendly
go ahead
terms.
and see how this Emrys guy was a complete sophist since the second I joined and started talking to him. So
Since the
maybe,
second that I
maybe what
openly
he can
engaged
do,
with you?
maybe what he can do is understand
Since the second that I
how
repeated
shameful
multiple
he looks on
positions
this
to you.
panel, and maybe what he can do is save him some shame and actually just repeat his definition of harm if He actually
Wait,
did say
no,
it before.
you paid
So
attention
let's
to it.
just
You said you did.
Look, everybody in the comments. Oh,
I
Emrys,
don't care
didn't
about
hear
the
it. Let's
comments. It's
just go
between
ahead
me and you. Why
let's
are
just
you
go ahead and
focused
get
on
a
other
let's
people,
just go
Don? Are
ahead
you
and get a
scared? Do
repeat.
you need
Okay,
justification?
so
Do you
let's
need
ask the
gratification from other
question.
people to
Let's ask
justify
the
your own
question
existence?
a seventh time.
Don,
Let's go ahead and ask
just
the
repeat it
question
to me.
a
Don.
seventh time. So, do you have a definition of harm?
Yeah, it was the one I gave you over 10 minutes
That's
ago.
blunder number 7, guys. Okay, so here's the
Don,
last
blunder
and
number 8,
final
blunder number 9, blunder
Okay,
number
so
69. Do your finishing move.
do you have a definition of harm? Yes or no?
It's blunder number
Okay, so that's blunder number 8.
Yeah,
and now
no.
he's exploding. His mom is going to wake up and explode tomorrow. His dad is going to wake up.
Wait, so is this your finishing move? Is talking
right?
about my parents
His firstborn
instead of
kid
engaging
is
with
gonna
anything I said?
randomly explode in random combustion.
Wait, so Don,
right?
so
he's cursed his whole family. and his whole
let's imagine
bloodline.
for a
It's
second.
actually
Let's
awful.
imagine that I am
You're
an
awful
actual
person.
sophist.
I can't believe you.
Let's imagine that I am an actual sophist.
Let's not get to
So
number 10.
no, so let's
because,
boil it
you know,
down.
you
Let's
don't wanna
imagine
hear
that
what
I'm a
happens once you get to 10
plebeian.
blunders.
Let's imagine
Okay,
that I'm a
so
plebeian.
let's just go ahead and figure out.
Engage
if
with
you're
what
gonna
I
answer the
said. At
question.
that point, humor me.
So, are you going to answer the question ever?
I'm going to respond with what I have been for the past
Look, you're
10
failing
minutes
to
that I've been
answer the
waiting.
question I just proposed to you. So, are you going to answer the previous question about what your definition of harm is? That's yes or no.
Answer is going to be that I am going to
Oh
further
my God,
state.
you can't answer yes or no questions. Oh my God.
Oh my
Look,
God.
Emrys, is the sun out right now?
Depends on your time zone.
Is the sun out for you right now?
Yes.
Oh, well, so you can't answer yes or no questions. This is insane. You haven't done any of those.
Don, what
this
time zone
entire
does
time
that
I've
mean
been
I'm
on
in?
the panel. So since I know that you're now capable of answering yes or no questions,
You're finally
let's
going
just
to
go ahead and,
further ask questions about things I
let's just
defined
go ahead
over
and
10
take that
minutes ago?
concept that you have of yes and no, and let's just apply it to the questions that I'm asking you. Okay, so are you going to answer the question about if you have a definition of harm? Yes or no to that question?
Going
Oh
to
my
state
God,
the
he's
same thing I've
stunlocked.
said.
All of a sudden, he's forgotten the
No,
concept of
no,
yes or
no.
no. He doesn't know about logical exclusivity. He doesn't know about what's logically possible, right? He doesn't know how to exhaust the possibility space there. Okay, so
Could
let's
be.
just go ahead
Could
and
be.
answer the. Let's go ahead and get an answer to the question. So, are you going to ask? Are you going to answer the previous question about what your definition of harm is? Yes or no?
If we simply invoke the many
Oh
worlds
my God! Do you
hypothesis,
see
it's
how bad
definitely
this looks
possible I
for
could
you
have.
right now? You just showed
It
everybody
looks
in the
really bad
comments
that a guy
you
with
can't
under
answer yes
1,000
or no
followers
questions.
is saying
Look,
something
everybody
to me.
knows that you can do it, but yet you still fail over and over and
Wait,
over.
like we
every
know
single
that you
time I
could
ask you a
repeat
yes
the
or no
definition that I
question.
gave you over
This is
10 minutes
literally
ago?
awful. You should be
Wait.
embarrassed right now. Look,
Wait,
you're
I
losing on
should?
substance. You're
I'm
losing
losing
on
on
rhetoric.
substance.
You're
You
losing
caught
on
me.
life right now. Look,
I'm losing on
your
life.
mom. Look, you already
My
figured
wrists
out
are open. Hannah
your
Baker,
mom
too. It
is
was
gonna,
crazy.
explode. Your dad's gonna fall in front of a bus.
Yeah, no,
and
it
this was all on
no,
you.
dude, it was
for committing
insane. I
hate
literally
murders.
nutted in a
Okay,
sock and a
so,
black hole opened
Look,
up.
let's just go ahead and ask the
Sucked
question
into it.
again. So, are you going to answer the previous question about if you have a definition of harm? Yes or no?
Yes,
Oh my
I
God,
do.
he's
It's the one I
stunlocked.
gave you.
Do you have an answer to that question? Yes or no?
Yes, I do. It's the one I gave you.
Guys, chat, we finally got a yes or no. Okay, so he does have a definition. Okay, cool. So let me ask that question again. What is your definition of harm?
The one that I gave you.
Oh my God, chat.
That wasn't a
I
yes
asked
or
a
no
simple
question. That
and
wasn't
he
a yes
failed
or
to
no
answer the
question.
once again. Oh my God, this is
It
insane.
wasn't a yes or no
This
question.
is
Come on, dude. You're
unbelievable.
getting tripped up in your
Oh
own
my God.
traps. Try harder.
Do you think I said it was a yes or no question? I said you failed to answer
No.
the question, so you're a moron because
Well,
obviously
no, I
you would
did answer the
understand-
question. It was the one that I've already
obviously you would
answered with.
understand- Obviously, you understand that your answer was not sufficient to satisfy the question, and so now that you
It's
know
not
that,
sufficient based
let me
upon
just
what
go ahead and
criteria,
answer
Don?
ask
Based
you the
upon what
question again.
criteria?
Let me just go ahead and ask you the question again.
Don, what are the
What's your
necessary and
definition
sufficient
of harm?
criteria to answer your own
Okay,
questions?
so let me just ask the question one more time. What's your definition of harm?
Don, the one that I told you
Okay,
15 minutes ago.
Okay, at this point, I'm just gonna write it down because I think you've actually.
Can
been
you write it
pretty
down and make it your
consistent.
background?
Yeah. Hold on. You've been pretty.
Yeah, no,
consistent.
just write down my definition, make it your background, and
No, hold on.
we'll have the host read it out loud, and
I'm
I'm
gonna
sure
write
that
it
your
down real
question will be answered.
Okay, harm equals. Okay, and then harm equals what? What goes on the right side?
It was when I said harm equals X, that's when I told you what X was, you should write that down.
Yeah,
and then the
what's
host
X?
will read it. Well, no, I told you what X was. You told me that X was insufficient. I
Okay.
asked you to clarify what would be sufficient, and then you
X
refused to do
is-
that. And then you asked me what yes and no's were. You asked me if the sun was out. So Don, you write down either what I said or write down what would be sufficient,
Okay,
and then
so
we'll go from there. And if you can't do that,
here's
Don,
what I
that's
have written
okay.
down. So when I asked you for harm, you said
Well, no, I
harm
want to
is
see
what
it. Can you
X
turn on
is.
your camera, Don?
Sorry, I'm talking now. So I asked you what
Are
harm
you
is,
going to
and
get
you
scared and
said,
mute me again, Don?
I haven't even muted you yet, but I will if you
Well,
keep
no, you have
interrupting.
previously.
Okay, so
And
I
Don, I
asked you
haven't
what harm
insulted
was.
you either, and you
Look,
have insulted me.
you're not winning on rhetoric right now. You should actually
Don, I
pipe
didn't
down.
have to win on rhetoric because you've already been disqualified.
Okay, so for the people listening, I don't know why this guy keeps.
Dude, why are you
overtalking me,
appealing to the
but,
comment section again, Don? Do you need their justification to justify
I
your
asked him what
existence,
harm
Don?
is, I decided to be a super nice guy and write down his definition
Well,
of harm.
no, Don, you
Okay,
asked
so
me what my definition
harm
was. If you want to talk to
actually
those
is-
people,
Okay, harm
then
is
talk to
identical
them.
to I told you what X is. Okay, and so on your count of why abortion is unjustified is because there is no, harm being done by the pregnancy. And so what you mean by harm there is that there is no I told you what X is during the pregnancy. But look, you've given me a definition that's uninformative. So now I'm just confused why I should accept your account of why abortion is wrong.
So like when I first gave it, you should have acknowledged it and we should have ran with it then.
What is this guy what is he responding to? Look, I've just
I'm
completely
responding to you
dismantled
saying that it was
his entire
uninformative.
position
It was
in
informative
only the 10
17
minutes I've been
ago.
on the panel. It's so
Don,
sad.
Don,
Okay, so guys,
sadly,
remember,
you've been on the panel for longer than 17 minutes.
Guys, remember, the reason abortion is wrong is because abortion is unjustified, and the reason it's unjustified is because it doesn't cause harm.
Do you think as more
And by
viewers
that,
come in,
I
the
mean,
more you repeat
it
yourself
doesn't,
with things that are
it
further
doesn't
removed from the
cause,
point? Are you going to keep
X is.
interrupting me?
So that just means
Wait, so
abortion
like, is
wrong
your whole
because
point to
it doesn't
appeal to
cause
the
I told
comment
you what X
section?
is. Okay, so for anybody else listening, is abortion is wrong because it causes I told you what X is? Is that what
Is that
convincing
your
to you?
entire point? Is to repeat what you've previously said instead of acknowledging what I said? Is that it? Because I'll just keep saying the same thing until it's 5 in the morning.
Look, you've been doing that all night. There's nothing new here.
Well, no, I've said repeated things. The host
all
needed
you've done
you.
is repeat
Swan
yourself.
needed you. Everyone
You
dropped.
barely
They had to
answered
come
any
back up.
questions. You've
Well,
gotten
no,
to 8
I've answered
blunders.
repeated
You've damned your
questions.
entire
You just
family line.
didn't
You've killed your
respond to
brother.
any of
You've
them.
killed your mother. You've ran over a bunch of
Yes,
little kids in
Don,
a
these
bus.
are all
You
great
ran
points
over a
that
bunch
make
of
you win a
people
debate.
in
I'm sure that if
GTA.
we did this
Like,
formally
you look
with a
awful right
moderator,
now.
that you wouldn't have been
So
disqualified
you're
within the
actually a
first 5
moral
minutes of being on
monster
panel.
right now. You've
Yes,
done
no, I'm a
nothing but
horrible
kill people.
person,
So
and you've
I
got
just
me,
want to
and you
know,
got me, and that
are you
definitely
ever going to
wasn't an
engage
attack.
in the
Personal one.
dialectic? So
Yes,
or no
Don,
to
you
that
caught me.
question.
It's all true.
Okay,
It's all
so
real. I did
are you
everything.
going to engage in the dialectic? Yes
Don,
or no?
I did when you were engaging.
Oh my
but you
gosh,
stopped
he
engaging.
failed to answer the yes or no question again.
Oh my
Even
God,
though
he
we've seen that
failed.
he can answer yes or no questions. So let me ask the question again for blunder number 32 at this point. Are you going to engage in the dialectic, yes or no?
Don, I already previously did.
Oh
I'm just
my
waiting for you
God,
to catch
he
up.
failed
Can you catch
again.
up?
He doesn't know what a yes or no is. Even
Wait,
though
no,
he should.
Don,
He
you're the
does know
one
what
that's
a yes or
refusing
no
to
is.
engage. I
Okay,
said that
so
I'm willing to engage
I
when you
just
respond
wanted
to
to
what I
be
said.
very clear that this
No,
guy has
Don,
been
I'm
completely
not the one that's
dismantled.
refusing to
It's
engage.
very
You're
obvious
refusing
that
to
this
answer a
guy doesn't
question.
have a case for the impermissibility
Don,
of
can you just
abortion.
answer my question? I'll
Okay,
do whatever
but
you
since
want.
we now know that you don't
Don,
have
I'll
a case
hop on
for
one
why
foot for you if
abortion
you
is
just answer my
impermissible,
question.
and you think that
Wait,
abortion
Don,
defines
I'm
us,
begging and pleading on my
you know,
hands
thank
and
you for
knees.
conceding
Can you
that
just
point.
answer my one
Let's just
question?
go ahead and move on to
Don,
hopefully
just
a
answer
more
my
fruitful
one question
conversation.
and I'll do whatever
Unless you
you
wanted
want.
to
I'll
talk
say
about
whatever you
quote,
want, Don.
quote,
Just answer my one
lexical
question.
utilitarianism. So let's just go ahead and talk about
Don,
that.
just
since
answer my
you
one
probably
question.
have, you know, a better time answering those questions. So
Don,
what is
are you
what
going
is
to answer my
lexical
one question?
utilitarianism?
Don, are you the one that's not engaging?
So
Don,
what's
just for the
lexical
simplicity, because you're
utilitarianism?
such a nice guy, answer my one question. I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah, so what's lexical utilitarianism?
No, it was non-lexical utilitarianism that
Oh,
my
sorry.
position was.
What's
But also,
non-lexical?
again, Don, are you going to answer my one question?
So
Or are you
what is
refusing to
non-lexical
engage? Don, that was
utilitarianism?
yes or no. Are you unable to do a yes or no, Don? Don,
Oh, I am able to, yes.
Yeah, so Don, are you going to engage with my one question I asked you over 20 minutes ago?
Am I going to? No.
Wait, so Don, you're refusing to engage? You forfeit the conversation? Thank you, Don. That was a W
Well, that
concession.
doesn't follow.
No,
What's the inference
Don,
there?
thank you for the W concession.
Yeah, what's the
Don,
inference there?
you made it. You made it. You made it.
So does
Don.
this guy not know what an inference is? That you know, I'm not surprised by that. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get the conversation about non-lexical utilitarianism.
No, Don, you refuse
So
to engage in the
what is
conversation. I don't have to
non-lexical
engage further
utilitarianism?
until you do.
So what is
Look,
non-lexical?
no, Don, you refuse to engage. I don't have to engage. Are you unfamiliar with formal debate?
Do you
I ask
think
you a
this is
question, you're
formal
refusing to
debate?
engage. You forfeit. That's how
Do you
that
think
works.
this is a formal debate?
It was a formal debate until you
You think
rudely
this is
stopped answering.
You think this is a formal debate?
Do you think the account titled Emrys.Debates with over 20,000 followers is not a formal debating account?
Yeah,
Do you think I've
anybody
done
can
anything
buy
that's not
20,000
formal debating?
followers. It's not that hard, but like you're
Yeah,
not.
so why do you have under
Okay.
1,000 then, Don?
So yeah.
Anyways, are you
yeah,
going
I
to
don't-
engage with the
yeah, I'm not, like,
conversation that I...
fishing for this kind of fake clout. I don't really care for
as
that.
you
So,
currently engage in the
let's
comment
go ahead and
section
talk about
repeatedly, so can you
non-lexical
engage with what I
utilitarianism.
asked you previously,
So
Don?
what's the reason for holding that normative view? Well, actually, let's just outline.
No,
what the
actually,
view is.
Don, just answer my previous questions and I'll answer anything you want.
Okay,
anything
so are
you
you going to
want.
outline what the view is?
Don, I already did that. Just answer anything I said previously, and we'll do whatever you want the rest of the night. Floor's
Look,
yours.
I've answered a bunch of your questions, but
No,
you failed
actually,
to
Don,
answer
you
mine.
haven't.
Why
You
should I be
said
a
a
nice
bunch of
guy
things that
anymore?
weren't answers.
Okay, so
You asked me
let's just go
questions
ahead
instead of
and
answering
outline
my
what the view
questions.
is.
You responded to a question with a question. That's not how a debate works. On top of that, when I asked you hardline questions about
Okay, so let's just go ahead and outline what the view is.
Wait, so Don, are you incapable of
you know,
engaging in a debate?
What's
Are
the
you
view
scared?
of non-lexical utilitarianism? What's that view?
Don, that was already defined earlier. That was defined for the host. That was defined for you. It was repeatedly defined for you. I repeated
it'd
it
be
3
good
times.
for you to,
I was so nice.
redefine it for the
No,
viewers.
I defined it for you 3 times. Your ignorance is not justification for
that came into the live just now.
Well,
so
no,
Don,
I'm not debating for them.
So
I was debating you.
You
Am I debating the comments as well? Do you need help, Don?
Do you think
wanna
I said
get
you're
a
debating
few
the
friends in
comments? I said for the viewers. Presumably
No,
you want
I
to
don't-
be convincing, right?
Don, it has nothing to do with the viewers and everything to do with you.
Presumably you want to be convincing, right?
Well, no, I don't.
Okay, so you don't want to convince people when you debate?
No, I don't want to talk about the comment section. I want to
But that
debate
was
you.
a very clear question. Do you want to convince people when you debate, yes or no?
I'm currently convincing Jai.
Oh my God, chat. We've seen that he can answer yes or no questions and still fails to answer them. Very simple questions. So
Wait,
do you want to convince people when you debate, yes or no? It's very simple. Let's just go ahead and get
Not
an
all
answer to that
people.
question.
Not all people.
Okay, but the answer is yes in some cases, correct?
In some cases, if they meet a certain
So
threshold.
do you want to convince some
So
of
there's
the
a
viewers?
contingency to it. So it's not a yes or no. If there's a
Do you
contingency,
are
are
want to
all
convince
things black or white? Is many valued logic not real, Don? Is it
you want to
not?
convince some people
Is
here?
everything black and white? Is many
Look,
valued
do you
logic
want to
not real?
convince anyone here, yes or no?
Not particularly.
Okay, then I'll see you later. Thanks for getting dismantled very quickly.
Holy
Wait, really quick, Jai, what's his account of harm?
Yeah,
Since,
so real quick, can I
you
say
are here
something
to be
real quick?
convinced.
Wait, yeah. Since you
Sorry.
can't type it out, just go ahead and tell us
Yeah.
the kind of
Can
harm.
I say something real quick?
Wait,
No,
I
no,
asked
no.
you a
Han is
Tell us
the
the
most
kind of harm.
performative
Yeah,
debater
really.
I've seen. He appeals to
Mute
audience,
him.
right? Which
Mute him,
Don,
mute him.
Hey,
Let him
yeah.
ramble. No, just let him ramble.
Wait,
Let him
hold on.
ramble. Let him ramble.
Hold on, I
Real
wanted
quick.
to ask him something.
He was in the
Wait,
comments saying
can I
he knew
say
what the
everything
kind
I
of harm
said?
Hold
was.
on.
Can I
Jai,
say
hold on.
everything I've seen?
Jai, hold on. You can ramble in a second. Go ahead, Scouser.
Yeah, I just want to know if, since he's the one that was, he was trying to convince, what's his account of harm? What was Emry's account of harm?
His account
Jai?
of harm was, I told you what X is.
He
No,
stated
Jai.
it within like 20 minutes of it.
Okay,
I
then
forgot.
repeat it.
Okay,
Repeat
it.
wait, hold on.
You can't type it out.
Let's hear what Jai has to say now. Okay, go ahead,
He
Jai.
didn't know, but go ahead, Jai.
Go ahead. Hey, look, he kept to message Emrys. Like, okay, just go ahead and say what you wanted to say. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, I think it's clear that he actually doesn't know what the kind of harm was.
He didn't.
The closest thing he
harm
said
was
was some sort of
I told
negative
you what
state.
X is. It's not that hard.
I remember what he said. He'd said, my account of harm is just less dead people than more. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Less dead people than more, and
Yeah,
negative
I heard
outcomes.
that, but the point is, you don't understand that
I got
philosophy of death, harm theoretics are supposed to explain why death is harmful. You can't just say death is harmful, right?
I got a call. I can explain it right now. You want me to tell
Okay,
you?
sorry. Let's go ahead and let Jai talk real quick. Go ahead and gibberate real quick.
You want me to tell you word for word what his argument was?
Yeah, go ahead.
It was the argument he told you about 20 minutes into the debate.
Okay.
That's right.
That's embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing.
You literally ate.
No, dude, he got me on call just to say that. Anyways, within 20 minutes to this debate, just Don started rambling, tried to force a position onto him, which I thought was really funny. And then he tried to appeal to audience, and everybody just ate it up.
No, look, it's fine. Just let him ramble. Okay, Jai, just go ahead and say everything that you want to say, and then I'll just
Yeah,
go ahead
so
and
you
reply to it.
immediately went to appealing to audience and trying to force a position onto him, which you did do when he tried stating his framework, which is the whole reason why he got upset and just continued rambling about how he told you so. And his argument was X, which is why you literally got nowhere due to your own actions.
Okay, is that it? Okay, he ran. Okay, so this guy just told me that I forced